We're live in Boston,
Live
and
from
there's
Boston.
a little bit of traffic happening, so we're gonna hold for a few minutes before we start our talk. But you're here in the room with us, so there you go.
Thank you for being here. Is it on pause?
No,
Oh,
no, it'll just keep.
So
It'll just keep going.
I just
Like we'll be
wanted
live
to say
until we're live.
we're at Porter Square Books in Boston at the Seaport, at the lovely Calderwood Writer Stage. It's so exciting to be here, and you know,
Here we
we're
are.
gonna tell our story to the Bostonians.
And until we start, you can just hang out with us.
Yeah. How's everybody doing?
Lisa's going to do a live solo show.
We're so tired. So a lot of people are asking, how's the tour going? So what would you say, Debriana?
The tour's going great. We're almost done. We've had a phenomenal time on the East Coast. Lovely people, excellent food. Lisa and I might be lobstered out.
I think we're lobstered out, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
I know. It's delicious.
It's been incredible to be here, and we just had so many amazing experiences, and we will be sure to describe them on the next episode of Corona Kitchen on Monday night.
Yeah.
As usual.
Yes.
But
let's see. Oh yes, people are there. Hi.
Hi.
So we're gonna go up, and you'll see us start when we start. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Oh wait, that's my sister's.
How do we get up here? Oh, don't leave. Oh, she's gonna leave.
Going up on the stage.
I'm gonna be civilized. Oh, hi. Sure. Yeah, we're good. Just let's see. If you want to use that.
It's on.
Oh,
We're on, testing. Oh, these are great mics.
Am I on? No.
Did you turn on?
No.
You have to turn on.
What do I do?
Press the button. Up. Hello. It's a comedy show, we forgot to tell you. It's a stand-up tonight.
No, we're doing sit down because we're tired.
We're so punchy and crazy right now. Anything goes. Thank you guys for being here. We're so appreciative. Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll just give a quick spiel and then
Awesome.
get over you all because you're much better at this. But my name is Katie and I'm the events manager here at Porter Square Books. I just want to thank you all for coming out for tonight's event with Lisa Lucas and Debriana Mancini. We're excited to have them both here. If you're new to the store, Porter Square Books has locations here in the Seaport area of Boston as well as in Cambridge. And our storefronts are both located on the traditional lands of the Massachusetts people. So we always like to begin by acknowledging our presence on their ancestral homelands. And if you have not purchased a book, we have copies at the front. We will be doing a Q&A plus a signing. So if you have questions, just hold those until the end. And lastly, please silence your phones for the duration of the event. And without further ado, I'll do introductions of you both. I presume most of you know who we have here. Lisa Lucas is a writer, producer, and actor who has produced and written more than 30 television series, including for ABC's The Bachelorette, Bravo's Work of Art, and NBC's Emmy-winning My First Time. In 2017, she produced the Emmy-nominated feature documentary Defending the Fire. She's also an executive producer and principal partner in Like Minds, a production company based in Santa Fe, New Mexico, that creates content for documentary and scripted television series, short films, and independent features. Lisa has received professional theatrical training from the National Theater Institute at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Waterford, Connecticut, and studied Shakespearean theater at the Guildhall School for Music and Drama in London. For some reason, she is frequently cast in roles of either unfortunate victims of wrong place at the wrong time situations, like in NBC's The Night Shift, or hyper-pious parochial school nuns, like in the independent 2021 short film, The Holy Word. In 2020, Lisa and Debriana Mancini launched Corona Kitchen, an unscripted weekly cooking show on Facebook and YouTube Live. She lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And then beside her, we have Debriana Mancini, who is an actor, writer, and activist, known for her role as Fran in AMC's Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and for playing opposite Oscar winner Jeff Bridges in Crazy Heart. She trained at the Circle in the Square Theater School in New York City before launching Tin Roof Productions, which later became the Santa Fe Performing Arts Company. Debriana has worked off Broadway in New York and has toured on stage throughout the United States in her critically acclaimed show, The Meatball Chronicles. Debriana and her husband, David Forlano, won the Earthkeepers Award for Best Sustainable Video for their documentary short Earth Ships of Taos, which was shown at the downtown Los Angeles Film Festival. And several of their documentary shorts have aired on Al Gore's cable network, Current TV. In 2010, Debriana's children's short film, Picking Up Feats, was selected for the International Women in Film Festival. In 2020, as we both know, because it was in the previous bio, Debriana and Lisa Lucas launched Corona Kitchen, which is why we're here today. So please give a warm welcome for tonight's guests.
You sound important. Wow. Who are those people? Who are you? I don't know. Who are you? We've been doing this too long. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So I guess we should tell you how we launched Corona Kitchen, because that was a crazy story. So this little book here was a 4-year labor of love, basically, that was born out of the pandemic, from two friends who rarely got to see each other because we were working in the film industry like crazy people. But all of a sudden we found ourselves in a lockdown situation, afraid, nothing to do, and we just wanted to cope, like everybody. So we couldn't get flour, we couldn't get sugar, we couldn't get toilet paper. And so one day, at the beginning, very beginning of the pandemic, though, I was about to tour my solo show in London, and everything closed. So I called Lisa one day and just said, "Hey, you want to cook live on Facebook?" That seemed like a good idea at the time, and just see if anybody joins us. And she was like, "Okay." It was kind of weird, but she said to me, "I know I could cook on Tuesdays, you could cook on Thursdays. You're in your kitchen watching me, I'll be in my kitchen watching you. Just hang out, have a glass of wine, and talk," because we couldn't see each other. And so I'm like, "All right." And then we started doing it. We cooked for 143 days in a row, nonstop. I didn't know you had to cook that many things. And then at one point I said, "Well, hey, we actually are the network. We could take weekends off. We don't have to work every day." And then it was like, "Well, maybe we could just do it once a week, And so then we're still doing it on Monday nights. If you join the Golden Goose Kitchen group on Facebook, and we still have a lot of fun doing it. Yes, we do. But anyway, we were cooking for some time, and then one of Lisa's clients, with whom she optioned a book, called her and said, "Hey, my publisher's looking for a quirky cookbook. Maybe you guys should submit something." We were like, "Oh, sure." And I want to give her some credit, Peter Bussey, and thank you for that. Thank you. So we got the introduction with Apollo Publishers, and I have a meeting, and I'm a television producer, so I've pitched many shows in my day, and 99% of the time the answer is no. So we had zero expectations. We were just sort of like, we were gonna laminate it and sell it like a church cookbook, to our members. $5 to our members, something like that. We're like, that's good. That's as far as we took it. And so we get the meeting with the publisher, and they thought it was a really interesting idea, but they wanted to see more. So they said, do a proof of concept. So we really had to think about what would we do if someone gave you this?
If we were going to really write a book, what would we want to write a book about? Like, you can't, the two of us being writers and actors, and we were just like, well, we can't just write recipes. We have to talk about who we are and where the recipes came from and all of our background that brought us to this moment, because, we're old. So we thought long and hard about it, and then we had to get together a proof of concept. So we hired a designer and thought about how we wanted to design it and gave writing samples and put it together and gave it to Julia Abramoff at Apollo Publishers. And we talked for a while about kind of writing we wanted to do and what the recipes would be and how many we would do. And she went, okay, let's do it.
Sounds great. We were like,
what?
Are you kidding me? And so then we had to write a book. And that took about a year just to do the manuscript. But what we didn't know was, it's so all in the family, this whole story. Like, my sister Holly was a giant piece of it. My cousin Natalie, who happens to be a food stylist in Los Angeles, who's done many cookbooks, and she said to us, well, what you don't even realize you've done is you test kitchen to cookbook for a year. So all you have to do is write it. You already know the recipes work. But normally I didn't know that's what you have to do when you actually make a cookbook. But it's a lot of work.
It's crazy amount of work. It's more than just writing a book, because and the next thing we had to do was figure out the photography. Like, we'd only been using our cell phones to take pictures, and we were religious about that. So we had pictures of everything. But one of the members of Corona Kitchen, Penina Meisels, is a renowned food photographer, and she called us up and said, I see you guys are doing a cookbook. I want to do the photography. Now, she's done the photography for Jacques Pepin and Julia Child and all the William Sonoma books. And we're like,
oh my God.
We can't afford you.
And in the end, she loved what we were doing so much. She said, okay, I'll offer you the photos at 1/64th my regular rate. And so we said yes. And she opened up her absolutely gorgeous kitchen to us that she had just refinished to be like a studio for food photography, and she was just a marvel, and we had the best time.
It was still lockdown, so it was a very closed group of people. We kept the team really tight, and I say team loosely, as if we knew what we were doing.
I know.
The only one who knew what they were doing was Penina and your cousin Natalie, the food stylist, who zoomed in because she was having a baby.
She was having a baby. Yeah, no, so it was just like, wow. And from working on film sets, when you do food photography, it's like, imagine a giant set that you just shrink down to a
The size of this table.
And,
It's like a dollhouse.
It was fascinating. We learned so much. And so you can see in the book, there's some really beautiful food photography, but we also wanted to make it kind of scrapbooky, and there's family photos and, our cell phone photos too, but it's fun and, and interesting and
We think it is.
scrapbook of our lives, really.
Yeah, so she did the beautiful photos, and then during the photo shoot, I said to Lisa, let's dress up like American Gothic, like our version of it.
I don't know where she got this idea, but it was a great one.
I don't either. So we showed up one day on the set, and Penina took a picture, and she goes, I think these should be the chapter openers. And we were like, okay. So we did a whole photo shoot with us. So those are the chapter openers for the book. And she said it really expresses who you guys are. This book is really your personalities and who you are. It's not just a book of recipes.
Here's an example. And we just had a lot of fun with it. And, it became kind of our brand, really. We're like we love aprons and retro and vintage stuff, but we're feminists. So it's a paradox. It's a paradox. But, so why couldn't we make comfort food and love all the homey stuff, but also have, the politics?
You know, kind of want our rights.
So what was great about Apollo was they really let us be who we were. They didn't try to change us or say, be something different to sell your book or whatever. And I think that's really why it's such a great read, because, and a great, book of recipes as well, is because it's really, really from the heart. It's from us. We didn't change ourselves at all or anything.
And then we made up really funny names for the recipes. Because we had to have some fun.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. We actually overwrote the book. We sent in the first manuscript when we were done, and Julia called us and she said, okay, can you cut it in half?
This is like 300 recipes. But we have a lot of food we like to cook. And I'm 100% Croatian. Debriana is Italian. So, there's a lot of recipes between us both. And, this is the kind of food that we grew up with, is tried and true. The recipes are really cool because once you get one down, you can riff on it and you can make it your own, and it could, spark some creativity into something even more delicious.
How to do it vegetarian, if it's possible. We tried to tell you how to do it gluten-free, if those are your issues around eating. But we're not vegan, nor are we gluten-free. We eat it all, but Lisa has 2 vegetarian kids, so.
Right. And it's also, it really is I will say that's a pretty great book of essays too, because you see the connection to the food. Families and friends are so important to us, and we really describe, I think, the inspiration or best stories we have. Like, for example, when I lived in Switzerland, and I'd visit this French family that was a friend of our families, and they were, completely aghast that I didn't know how to make a true omelet. I was making American omelets, and they were like, what is this blasphemy? Poor thing doesn't know how to make an omelet. And it's a pretty funny story how I accidentally insulted my friend Geraldine's grandmother, and am legendary in the French family to this day of the American who called grandmother a pig. I thought I was saying bacon. Can I help you in the kitchen with a ham? The wrong words came out. It was so mortifying. To this day, when I think about it, I just want to go skulk off in the bathroom and hide. But it's a great read. It's a great story. All kinds of stuff like that. So anyway,
That's the story. That's our little
that's
story.
pretty much the story. We can't even believe, honestly, as I sit here, that I'm even sitting here, that we're sitting here and this has happened. We're living proof that if you set your mind to something, anything is possible. As women at the top of the 3rd act of life, we're here to tell you.
When most people think you're invisible
or your life's over, we're here to tell you that is not the case. We think our life is just beginning right now, actually, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And hopeful.
Yes, and we got to rekindle Kindle. I guess Kindle?
What are you talking about?
Our friendship?
Oh, I was like, Kindle? You mean, we're gonna do a Kindle. We have a Kindle? Oh, no.
No, we're
Kindle.
Yeah, we honestly, we didn't have time for a cup of coffee together. But we had bonded over really bad food. That's how we met.
That's how we met. And a friendship was born from criticism.
We're like, oh my God, this food is really bad. And we became friends ever since. But we'd only see each other at like marches or protests. And every time we were there, we're like, I like her. I should spend more time with her. And we never had time to do it until the lockdown. So there was a silver lining for us in the COVID lockdown. We made something out of it. We turned, what is that, sow's ear into a silk purse? I don't know what I just said.
I always tell this story, I will say it again, here I go for the 400th time, but anybody who was a major workaholic before the pandemic and had never taken a pause for years like I was. It gave me a chance to really find my cooking again. I had started to look at it as a chore. I don't have time to do this. I wasn't making things from scratch. I was looking at it, this is just gonna exhaust me even further, and I was irritated. And this entire process has just brought back the love of making good food to me again. And I thought I had lost it forever, honestly. And thank God for Debrianna, because she just inspired me, and I think our work together inspired thousands of people who were in the same boat, to really want to cook good food again from scratch as a relaxation, as a type of creativity, as love, creating love you can give to your family and friends. I mean, that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, I always approached the kitchen. For me, it was always a place of creativity and relaxation. That part has never left. It never left me. So I feel really grateful that I was able to pass that on to you and other people. That when you go into the kitchen, it's a source of inspiration and love and giving to family and friends and to yourself. So that's kind of our approach to how we wrote the book, how I live when I'm in my home, and I'm glad I was able to pass that on.
There was a woman named Karen, who's not a Karen, by the way, that we met up in Kennebunk Court, where we just were at a different signing, and she worked at the local coffee shop, the Dockside Coffee, which is fabulous, the best place in Kennebunk Court. Anyway, she made us these maple lattes every day, and so like the third day I went into the coffee shop, she said to me, well, how did the signing go? We became really good friends.
Our bestie now.
And she said to me something that has stuck with me this whole time of this tour, which has been, oh, I get it. You guys took a chance on yourself, took a chance on you. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Kind of exactly what this whole thing is. And we had not been raised to do that, you know what I mean, or think that we should or could, or maybe we're not worthy of it, or I don't know.
It's not something that women are naturally taught to do. And at the same time, I always feel like that saying, luck is opportunity plus preparation. And so I feel like in many ways, that's what our careers and lives have brought us to, because we've both been writers all along, and I've always been cooking. I cook for everybody. So it's just it was just a serendipitous moment, and that I could never imagine that would have happened out of a global pandemic.
But you know how you think about serendipity for a moment? It's like you taught me this of like, oh, everything that's happening to us now has happened because of everything we've been through so far. And maybe those things that were hard were just placeholders to get us to this point, or on your path, or whatever. I don't know, we're getting really esoteric right now. It's going really, really woo-woo. I'm sorry about that. I went down a road. But it's true though. Things happen to us which we can't even describe. It's really shocking. But is it shocking?
I'm shocked. And
I don't know.
there we are. Do you guys have any questions about our process or anything we've said to you in this wild moment?
I'm curious about the bad food.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, that's a funny story. Well, I was the person responsible for about 600 hours of programming at a network. And that kind of job is high stress, and you don't have a lot of time. And the CEO of that channel at the time said to me, you have to go to this dinner. All of the marketing affiliates are going to be there from across the country, and you have to describe the programming, blah, blah, blah. And I was so exhausted, and I did not want to go. Okay, so I was going to it because I had a friend on Twitter that I never met, but we talked all the time. And he said, hey, I have this account that I have to visit in Albuquerque, and it's supposed to be at this Reels network, and then we're gonna go have dinner at this fancy resort place. Do you wanna go as my +1? And I was like, okay. So that's how I got there. It was just pure chance.
So I walk up to the round table, I see my name card, I look next to me, oh, who's Debrianna Mancini? Who's that? Had no idea. We sit down, I'm just so mad that I have to go to this thing.
And then the two of us were just sitting there, we struck up a conversation, and I don't know, one of us muttered under our breath, oh my God, this is awful. It was just shocking that we were at this really fancy resort and the food was
So friendship was born.
that was the bad food story.
It's like, I don't cook like this, I don't make food like this.
It was terrible. I felt bad though, but they paid a lot of money for that event.
The other thing is, something about the recipes in our book, I think some of them are really magical, because it is that time we eat our feelings, but when do you not eat your feelings? Someone said to us the other day.
Yeah.
The other thing is, one of the recipes in here is, my nana said this zucchini bread would fix all your problems, and it's totally true.
It is.
So there's some magical recipes in there
Yeah.
that'll make you feel better.
Yeah. Anyone else? We're a lovely group of people. Well, I think that's.
What are your favorite recipe names?
What?
What are your favorite recipe titles?
Oh, geez.
I love Don't Harissa Me Chicken.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see. God,
We've had to cook a lot of,
there's some
we
funny
did
ones.
a lot of television appearances recently. We had to make food for those things. So that was fun to say that on the air. Don't Harissa Me Chicken.
Oh, this is a good one. Make your own damn ramen. I love this one so much. And it was funny, when we were in DC, we had one of the people in the audience just start to read titles and laugh. Just they started reading out. We're like, okay. Great Aunt George's Life is Not That Complicated, Misaka. Oh wait, what's the one about the pesto is really funny.
Oh, about the garlic bread?
Yeah. It's something like, what's it called?
I don't know. I know. We have long and funny titles to the recipes, like eat the pesto and don't be the only one who has bad garlic bread.
It's something like, yeah, oh, here it is. Everyone must share the pesto love or else the garlic breath isn't worth it.
Yeah, that's one.
In a world that constantly disappoints, these crispy caramelized Brussels sprouts with pancetta and walnuts never will. Stuff like that.
Yeah, we tried to have fun with the titles and yet keep the food serious.
Oh my God. Oh, well, there's some funny ones in there for sure. Let's see. Attitude adjustment, simple bowl. Freaking good times potato spelled focaccia with olives. Yeah, you really, like, I love every single recipe in here, honestly. I could eat them all the time, and we do.
Yeah, we do. No, there are things we both make often for our families, and we've traded back and forth over the time we've been cooking together.
This is a funny one. Debrianna's, if you aren't Italian, you are now homemade ricotta. This is a great story in here, actually, about her Uncle Vic, and we fought for this photo. Like, this is a number from Uncle Vic that he gave to Debrianna.
I still had, he stuffed that in my wallet when I was 16.
And I think it's to a payphone in New York City.
It was still in my wallet. I opened it and I'm like, Lisa, I can't believe and I'm sure he's gone now, somewhere, off this plane. and I have his phone number.
At the end, it says in the story, when I make them, this is the cannoli, when I make them, I always think of my Uncle Victor, who once gave me a scrap of paper with his number on it and said in broken English, "You need me, you call me." And say a little thank you for all those birthday cannoli. I'm reading your story. Sometimes we read stories. I don't know if you guys want to hear some. You know, we could read a few if you want, or.
Up for it.
All right.
You read one.
It's funny. Debriana dedicated this book to her amazing husband, David Furlano, also an Italian. I dedicated this book to about 15 Croatian relatives with really difficult spellings of names and accents. But mainly this book for me was to just honor my mom, who's I adore, who lives in the same town as me. I talk to her every day. And she was just an amazing inspiration to me and always a just impeccable, fantastic cook. She still is to this day. She just takes it really seriously. And we just have so much fun cooking together. And well, let's see. I think I am going to tell the story about my mom right now. Because she was a classy broad. Look at her. That was her in 1969, having a little aperitif in her little hat with her hair very légère scarf. Okay. When I'm in the waking hours of my day, most of my conscious thought considers the loss to society, to science, and to art, because women were not given the equality and opportunity they deserved and were instead pretty much forced to live out our societal stations, rough-hewn from the fashion magazines and housework and child rearing. How's that for an opening sentence? When I take pause to think about how many people have gone crazy from the inequalities, the drug addiction and suicides, from not being able to live their best life because there were so few choices, and when I consider the magnitude of the same scenario of discrimination for people of color, indigenous people, anyone other than a white male, I want to cry and never stop. My mother could have been anything. She could have done anything she set her mind to. She had dreams, but she knew she could only dream. She was and is clever, a terrific conversationalist and storyteller. This became a strength of hers when my dad needed a wife who could hold her own at cocktail parties. She could never appear smarter than the men, even though she was smarter than all of them. My mom was and is a self-taught admirer of art and aesthetic, and has been her entire life. She even painted. While no one thought anything of her paintings, they were stunning. It was a cute little hobby. In 1961, her grandfather Tony recognized her need to feed her soul and invited her and her younger brother and two cousins to Europe to see the great cities and experience a grand tour of culture. The only reason she got to go was that her grandfather didn't see her as just a girl. She had a brain and they had a solid connection, and one he did not have with her younger brothers. She was so excited about this trip. Finally, a chance to explore and breathe in the work of the masters. When she walked up to the Mona Lisa in the Louvre for the first time, she studied it without the plexiglass. People would still touch it back then, she said. In my baby book, she wrote, Lisa, named after the Mona Lisa and Christmas Noel. Franny always encouraged me and my sisters to reach our full potential, and we did because of her. One time when I was in Singapore, I took up a suggestion from Franny to have a Singapore swing at the Raffles Hotel. It was 1997 and they were $25 each. A fortune at the time. But she was right. Damn if that wasn't the best cocktail. One thing for sure about my mother is that whenever we went anywhere, we always ate at the best restaurants and drank at the best bars to get the full experience. But it must also be noted that she is at times prone to constructive criticism with really unattainable high standards. If you ever receive a rare compliment from her, be sure to know whatever you did must have been exceptional in her eyes. I hope she likes this cookbook. This sangria is an ode to my mother, classically crafted with the best ingredients and sure to delight in its complexity and flavor, just like her. Hi, Mom, if you're watching.
Yeah, Mom, hi. She's a great lady. I'm gonna try and find the Bob and Emmy story. I should put a marker in here, but I didn't.
This is on the fly, folks.
What's it?
Which one are you gonna tell? Oh, the one too bad. Alright.
If I can find it, the one with Bob and Emmy in here.
Oh.
I can find it. Oh, yeah, that page it's on. Oh, here it is. Okay.
She found it.
I found it. I was in a relationship. My life with Wayne was a learning experience and not one that ever gave me a sense of belonging. One clue that we weren't a good fit should have been that he was allergic to mustard. I only found that out after I nearly killed him when my sister Lisa, who flew across the country to spend Thanksgiving with me, helped me make my brand new recipe for roasted turkey. I was still working on what would become my traditional recipes, and I had just found one that sounded amazing. Coat the turkey inside and out with a spice rub based in Dijon mustard. It was a theme. We made Dijon salad dressing and sauteed mustard greens as a side, and then we spent the entire meal watching him suck down bottles of Benadryl with me and my sister, and only a few guests feeling guilty, quietly eating the delicious turkey. I should have known then that this relationship was destined for ruin, but I digress. The only redeeming factor of this relationship was that he had introduced me to his old friends, Bob and Noni, LA screenwriters, when they had come to Santa Fe on vacation. We instantly hit it off. When I decided it was time to go make my mark, he called them and let them know I was arriving. I'd never been to LA before, and they were eager to help me in any way once I got there. Through word of mouth in our small but tight acting community in Santa Fe, I had found a room in a house in the valley. Oh, yeah, my friend is leaving this room. He's been renting, and it's in a quiet house, and the lady who owns it's super nice, a friend of a friend assured me. I called the number and introduced myself to her, and the deal was sealed. Wayne drove me and my stuff to LA, and we fought the whole trip. As soon as we finally approached the city limits after an extremely long 13-hour drive, the clutch on my car went out. We somehow rolled into a Toyota dealership. He offered to help me pay for the repairs, but I instinctively knew that that would become another noose in the relationship, so I dug out my way overused credit card. We had a long wait ahead of us. Oh, yeah, the old man at the front desk grumbled. There's a monastery not far from here. It's kind of interesting. Here's a cab number. We're like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, just tell us where it is. We can walk. We're ex-New Yorkers. Wayne interjected that before I could take the number. He opened his wallet and the moss flew out everywhere. What? The mechanic's craggy face sparked up. You can't walk that far. It's 5 blocks from here. No one walks in LA. Rubbing my lucky charm, I was praying that this wasn't an omen as we walked to the monastery. I never felt like I belonged in New York, and I was praying that I would feel better in LA. Many hours later, with the clutch fixed and Wayne gone, I arrived at the house and met my new LA roommate. The first thing I noticed was a tacked up old magazine picture of Van Gogh's vase of sunflowers, and I thought, oh, I can replace that with a real framed picture. And I touched it gently to see if there was a nail hole behind it. Instead, I found a hole, like a real hole, like the wall had been punched. I replaced the crinkled page and I felt a bit scared, and that's when I called Bob and Noni to tell them about the blue room, trying to seem nonchalant. We'll be there in 30 minutes, Bob said quickly, hearing the bit of anxiety that I let slip out in my voice. I sat on the edge of the bed and waited, and I pondered the blue carpet. I hadn't known that the kind of area rug you usually see in a bathroom in front of the toilet, made of polyester shiny blue shag with plastic foam backing, could be made large enough to fill an entire room. Who knew? My friends arrived and we hugged like long lost buds. Can we see your room? Noni asked politely, and I said, sure, it's blue.
I tried to say it cheerily, and I led them through the house to this new room. Noni walked up, and I think she swallowed a gasp. Well, you're right. It is blue. Are you okay with it? Oh, yeah, I assured them, trying to sound confident. I probably wouldn't even be here much with auditions and classes and all, and I added that as much to reassure myself as her. They left a little bit afterward and immediately called Wayne. They were traumatized by all the blue and wondered if they should offer me a space in their home. He said, you can ask her. Oh, ask her to cook for you too, you won't regret it. This response always surprised me because God knows he nearly did regret it when I almost killed him with the mustard turkey. From that moment on, I belonged in their home, in their kitchen, and in their lives. I was only supposed to be there for 3 months, but I ended up staying with them for a year, and we've been best friends ever since. They eventually walked me down the aisle when I met and married David, the man of my life. I look back on that time and understood that their friendship set me on a path to finding and honing my own sense of belonging. I offer it to all those who enter our home, and I believe both Lisa and I want nothing more for those who join us in these uncertain times to feel the same sense of belonging when we invite Corona Kitchen into theirs. There you go. That's kind of a sense of the writings that are in the book. Funny stories, heartfelt stories. It's very personal in many ways, but we share it with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thanks for being here. Oh my God. I can't believe you're here.
My husband Jack.
Flash from the past.
Yeah, wow. So we're happy to sign books and what's that?
Can we buy one?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. They're for sale. They're for sale.
I was there at the register, I thought they'd be out here.
Yeah, and we invite you to join us on Corona Kitchen on YouTube and Facebook. We're Golden Goose Kitchen, that's our company. And we have, we're launching a product line, so we have a line of sugars that you can get. We collaborate with Lisa's sister, Holly's Homegrown, and our website is goldengoose.com, and the sugars are there too if you want to get them.
We're also on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, Instagram.
You want to see some fun videos.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. You got a card?
Did you get it? What? Did I, Aaron? You took a photo? Yeah. Just a quick one. Everybody watching, here's the planned photo. It's the planned photo. I took a couple too. Yeah, that I can send there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we're good.
Thanks, honey.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have the greatest publicist, Erin Conti,
Yeah.
PS.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
so much,
everybody.
That was really fun.
I'm glad you guys got to watch. We'll be posting it later, so if you want to see it or share it, we'd love it.
Oh, look at all the people.
I
Elsie.
know.
Oh,
Hi.
hi. Oh.
Thanks for joining us. We're so happy to have you.
Hi, Stroudy. Oh, hi, Ronan. So glad you're watching. Anyway, this is the end of our tour. and
Last day.
It's just been incredible. Thanks to everybody on all the East Coast cities. It was really terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll see you on Monday night on Corona Kitchen.
In our usual spot. Bye, Stroudy.
Bye.
Okay. Did it.